Forget your former managers, ignore the ex-pros. As football fans, we all know the real experts drink in pubs. It's funny, it's argumentative, and often it's just plain wrong. Welcome to the Foss Arms Public House and welcome to the Leicester City Pubcast. Leicester City, FA Cup winners.
Yeah!
Yes!
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 Get in there!
Yes!
Come on!
Come on!
Come on!
Yes! We did it, boys! We did it! Here we are in the Foss Arms with our blue drinks, our Trimwell's IPA, everyone going mad. We have finally laid to rest our 137-year problem and won the FA Cup. Absolutely magic. And to celebrate are my two good friends, Killer, good evening.
Good evening, Tim.
And Norm, good evening.
Good evening to you, Tim.
We are absolutely chuffed. I've not managed to get anywhere near getting off cloud nine since the end of the match. I'd say at the start, the three of us were actually lucky enough to get, which was an absolute privilege to do that. And we witnessed, will go down in history as probably Leicester's first or second best day ever, depending on which way you look at things. It was a brilliant, brilliant, brilliant day. What a day for the club and all those clubs that had won the FA Cup. Bury, Wanderers, Coventry, Wigan, and now finally we can finally put our name on that beautiful, beautiful trophy. Norm, how was it for you?
It was incredible. But before I talk a bit about the game, what I want to say is I'm going to give you four teams: Queen's Park, Birmingham, Crystal Palace, Watford. They now have an unenviable record. What is it, Tim?
Ooh. Queen's Park are Scottish, aren't they?
Killer? Well, they are rubbish, but Killer?
Hello.
Well, for many, many years, Leicester held the record for the most FA Cup finals without having won the trophy. So those four teams, Queen's Park, Birmingham, Palace and Watford, have each attended two finals without winning. Thank you. We are no longer ever going to hold that record. Now,
Ghost laid to rest. Brilliant.
Absolutely. Look, I mean, I think for me, this is one for all for everyone. Look, this has been a really incredibly challenging year, hasn't it? And I just felt that FA Cup final, it was more than just a cup final. I know we were Leicester fans and the club were in the final, but it just felt like with fans being there, it was a beginning of getting back to normal. So even the bigger picture, just to be able to be with your friends and your family, it just means so much, without any doubt, to have that little bit of more normality there. And I'll tell you something, there might have only been 6,500 Leicester fans there, but oh my God, it sounded like there were 40,000, didn't it? It was just incredible. The sound in the stadium on TV was brilliant. And we clearly outsung the Chelsea throughout the entire game, even if we weren't winning at the time. But game itself, it was a bit of a slow burn, wasn't it? But God, I mean, what do you expect from an FA Cup final? A bit tense, probably a bit surprised to see Perez and Thomas starting over Albrighton and Maddison, but it didn't matter. We have always believed in Brendan, and frankly, both players did exceptionally well. I thought, particularly Thomas. I thought for a young lad on the big stage, had an outstanding game. Bit concerned when Evans went off. Obviously, thinking about the Newcastle game, but again, how well does this team cope with like these challenges? And even though it was all a little bit cagey, we really started to grow into the game and get quite a bit of confidence. And even though Kante was reminding us how good he really is, I never really in the first half felt we were massively threatened. I thought it was cagey. It was a bit tit for tat. Vardy probably had the best chance at the end, but moving into the second half, God, it was a much better performance, and it just seemed to for me, it just seemed to like fly by, and it was like all a bit of a blur. And then suddenly the ball's hit Perez, and it's found its way to Thomas, who's flicked it to Tielemans, and you just knew what was going to happen, didn't you? It was he's strolling forward, and they're backing off, and as he struck it, it was one of those moments. It reminded me of like one of my favourite goals, Andy Peake against Liverpool, where you knew it was going in. You knew it was going in way before it hit the back of the net, but you don't have time to react until the net bulges. And oh my God, what an incredible feeling! I mean, I think for a single goal as a Leicester City fan, that's probably the most elated I've kind of felt. I just absolutely amazing, and thinking, oh, this could be it. But then all the worry starts, and then the game was sort of, oh no, we're winning now. It's only ours to lose. It can't get better than this, because currently we're going to win the FA Cup. But sure enough, we did sort of shut up shop a little bit, and Chelsea did come right back into it and just gave us a few moments of worry. And Chilwell made a big difference. I mean, to be honest, Kanté and Chilwell, two former Leicester players, were, I thought, probably Chelsea's best players on the day. And Chilwell's header, what a great save from Casper. I mean, world class. Couldn't have bared for him to score. And then Mount's shot and that save from Schmeichel was, I mean, the more I see it, the more I cannot believe his hand was he didn't break his fingers.
Yeah.
So to just utterly incredible. And the more I've watched it, the more I've thought about something you said last week, Killer. You said if Schmeichel's man of the match, we win the cup. And I actually think Schmeichel, because of those saves, probably was our man of the match. And I just keep thinking back to that. And with those saves, you just felt, you know what, it's ours. It's ours. We're going to win it. And then it happened, didn't it? Oh my God. The horror of that equaliser. I mean, just the feeling was so close to the end. We're just watching it go in and see Chilwell running to the corner flag. And it was like, was it Chilwell that scored? Has he scored? Has Chilwell scored? And just thinking, oh no, he has. And just that desolate feeling for what seemed like forever. The players had walked up to the halfway line ready to kick off. No, it was never a VAR thing. You just didn't realise, just head in hands, and then it's like, hold on. Could this? It's VAR. And you know that because it's happened so late after the goal that there really is an issue. And like, just please, begging. And it's VAR's not, it's ruining the game. But for us on Saturday, I love the fact that VAR is in place, because very shortly after that, a roar almost as loud as our goal, wasn't there? And the look on Chilwell's face was a picture. And what a feeling to know that, and I think we all knew at that point, that was it. That was the moment. The writing was on the wall. It was going to be our cup. And it meant so much to us all as fans. And at the final whistle, to see the players' faces, it was incredible. Like Jamie Vardy in tears. He's become the first player to play in every round of the FA Cup, hasn't he? Through qualifying all the way to the FA Cup final. Yet another incredible thing for that lad. I'll tell you what made it even more special for me. I'm really proud to be a Leicester fan and proud of the team and whatnot. It's the owner. It's Top. And what it meant for him looking up at the sky of the seat next to him, which would have been where his dad sat, him coming down, being so connected with the fans, the team, the community. It's just everything about that club is right. Genuinely delighted, hugging the players. There was love there. It wasn't pretend. It was genuine, and everyone wanted him there. And Vichai had a dream, didn't he? And Top is ensuring that continues. And I just thought, thank you, players, thank you, Top, thank you, Vichai, thank you to all the fans. and thank you that I'm a Leicester fan. Absolutely. What a day.
What a day indeed. Very nicely put on. Now, Killer, I've got a bit of a confession to make. We said a couple of weeks ago that we went to the semi-final, and I must admit, after the semi-final, I didn't quite feel that excited. And coming in towards the final, I had in mind there were only 4,000 fans there. It was the first test event. Wembley was empty. Even when we went, I mean, it was brilliant when we won Iheanacho's goal, but it just didn't quite feel like football. And it took me until I actually got to Wembley to realise that this was going to be a proper match. And I thought Wembley did it very well, actually. They blocked out the top tier with banners from each club, thereby putting the fans much closer together. And it really did feel like a proper game. And Norm, you made the point. I mean, Leicester's fans were absolutely brilliant, and you can set that off against Chelsea's. There was only one team that came through on the television, one team's fans, and I thought the support for the club was absolutely brilliant. And it was clear as well that the support was there from the neutrals. I mean, the people that I spoke to. But one little story, Killer, just before I'll let you get on to some stuff. And I've 3 stories I wanted to mention today. When I got there, I went on the train, and the train brings you off at one end of Wembley, and I got to that end, and it was full of Leicester fans. I thought, obviously, this is the Leicester end, but I was there about an hour, maybe an hour and a half before the game kicked off. So I thought, well, soak it up, have a wander down, and I'll walk right around the stadium, and I'll go down to the Chelsea end. As I got down the side of the, and I'm walking down, and I'm not exaggerating, and I'm gonna be conservative here. I'd say it was 8-1 Leicester to Chelsea fans, and there must have been hundreds, if not thousands, of Leicester fans down there that didn't have a ticket. I got down to the far end of the ground, which I assume was the Chelsea end, and there was the real mob of Leicester fans, all singing, chanting, all good-humoured, just like the good old days of the playoffs. I couldn't believe it. There just weren't any Chelsea fans anywhere, and that's really continued through to the story being a Leicester City day. It was just a magnificent performance from the fans. And to see so many there that clearly didn't have tickets now, whether they should technically have been travelling. But hey, look, we're not going to be in too many of these things. And I just thought it reflected so well on the club. What were your sort of initial thoughts, Killer, about the day?
The whole day, top to bottom, for me, was just possibly the greatest day out I've ever had as a Leicester fan. And I'll tell you what, boys, for a club that's had some dark days, we've also had some brilliant ones as well, haven't we? I mean, my voice, by the way, is only just returning. I sung myself almost to death, to be perfectly honest with you. So, look, my recollection of the whole day is it was just fabulous. I'm still on cloud 9. I think I'll probably get off cloud 9 some point in the summer, possibly August time.
Which summer?
Yeah, there is that. Look, I've spent a bit of time today, obviously knowing the podcast was coming up, is thinking to myself, where does this rate in terms of best moments as Leicester City fans? There's no doubt in terms of the biggest achievement. The biggest achievement, of course, is winning the league. We know that. But the slightly odd thing about winning the league is it was a slow burn, because that's what it's about, isn't it? And there did come a point, probably after the Sunderland game, where you thought to yourself, we're going to do this. And obviously it happened on the Chelsea game when they got a point against Spurs. But the reality of it was we were going to do it. There's no doubt we were going to beat Everton on the Saturday. We were going to do it. I think the reason why there was more ecstasy on Saturday, it was a one-game shootout. We were playing against a team that were favourites. We're playing against a team, in theory, that should have beaten us. And first game I've been to for 14 months, as you say, the atmosphere in the ground should have been dead, shouldn't it, really? I mean, when have you ever been in a ground that's been 3/4 empty and it's been absolutely electric? I mean, that's just a paradox in itself. And the whole day, top to bottom, was fabulous. And without getting all watery about it, I just said as well at the beginning of the show, and I'll say it now live on air, the absolute privilege to be there with you two fellow podcasters who, obviously the three of us make a bit of effort to put this show together. And it was an absolute pleasure and a privilege, knowing how passionate you are about the club, that the three of us were able to share the experience, along with our good friend John, who I know is going to be listening in this evening as well. And can I also say as well to all of those Foxes fans that watched the game at home with the families, in pubs and stuff, I've seen loads of footage, loads of stuff on social media. You didn't have to be there in person to get as much as you did out of the game. I've watched enough games in pubs over the years to know exactly what that's all about. The whole city came together as one. We got the result, and hopefully at some point in the next 2 or 3 weeks, we can have a proper celebration in Leicester and the guys can get the cup round on an open top bus.
Yeah, killer. And you mentioned all those Foxes fans watching from home, and we've got one of them with us. Good evening, Colin.
Good evening.
How are you?
Very well, thank you. Very well. Yourself?
Well, we started off, Colin, by asking who was on Cloud 9. Have you come off yours yet?
Not really, no. As I said to you the other night, I keep thinking I'm on an episode of Dream Team. You know, it's we've won
this is not that professional, Colin. I can
no, you just think, hang on a minute, we've won the league. The poor owner dies in a helicopter crash, and then we win the FA Cup. You know, it's like you struggle to believe it, and you feel so privileged. I don't think I'm ever going to come off it. It doesn't matter if whatever. We've achieved the two things that we've always wanted to achieve. You know, you never thought you would do. I'm just super proud. My mom was alive to see them both. You know, she was a season ticket holder for 63 years.
Wow.
You know, she's got to see those two things. How lucky am I really to have shared it? You know, and with friends and people all across the country who don't even support Leicester have messaged me just to say, we're so happy for you, which is so lovely.
Fun.
You watched it with your mum, did you?
Yeah, we watched it with my mum. At 70 minutes, my mum was just crying, going, please win it. And she was, well, for her dad, you see, her dad took her when she was sort of 11, I think, to her first game, you know, and sort of he stopped ticket for her 20th birthday.
Wow.
And sort of went with her. And then when she sort of got together with my dad sort of thing, he stopped going and my dad went with my mum. And then when I was 20, I started going with my mum. So that's 30 years of having a season ticket with us. So yeah, she was just like, please let us win it. And it was just, yeah, it's just amazing just to share it with other people and stuff. And, you know, people watching it around the country and, you know, even around the world sort of thing, you know, it's just brilliant, you know. So I'm just so pleased, you know, that we've done it, and you know, we just feel so privileged, you know. I always want the underdog.
Yeah, and Colin, can I just say, I was just telling the lads before the beginning of the show, obviously you and I have known each other probably about 25 years now.
Exactly.
And obviously when we used to work together, we were lifelong Leicester fans. And
yeah,
let's be honest, they were pretty rubbish in those days. Who would have thought, mate, when we first met 25 years ago or whenever it was, when we were in definitely in the second tier at the time, that at some point, number one, that you'd be joining us on a podcast, and number two, that in that intervening time, we would have won the domestic treble. What is that about?
It's as I say, it just doesn't seem real. It's just, you know, if one of us wakes up in the shower tomorrow and it's a Bobby Ewing moment, I'm gonna, you know, that's it, you know.
Don't get Norm excited.
Who shot JR, by the way?
Well,
wasn't Colin. And looking at his shooting on Saturday, it wasn't Kelechi Iheanacho either.
No, exactly, no. But yeah, I think
Kelechi had one of his worst games for a while, Colin. But I know that given that he has kept us going throughout this entire cup run, that like us, you have penned a Kelechi ballad, have you not?
I have. I've even refined it today just to try and make it better.
Well, the stage is yours, Colin. The stage is yours.
Well, I'd just like to say that obviously I'm not a professional songwriter or singer. I'm going to give it my best, which won't be very good after listening to your
That isn't what
three.
you told us during the audition.
I had my full backing singers and orchestra then, so
Colin, you got my golden buzzer. I don't know how you did
that's
that.
it. Yeah, that's it. I don't want to hear anything about golden buzzers. No. Yes, I don't think I'm ever going to live this down singing this, but I'm going to have a go anyway. So I'd like to apologise to the Cranberries for their song "Zombies," which I've ripped apart. So if you want, I'll go for it.
Away you go.
Okay. Another head hangs lowly. VAR is slowly taken. Scoreline calls such silence. Who are we mistaken? But you see, it's not
Your head with your left.
left peg. You're still scoring with their tackles and their fouls and their shots and their runs. With your head, with your left leg, you're still scoring. With your head, with your left peg, Kilichi, 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 e. With your head, Kilichi, 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 e. Oh, another mother's.
Are you still there? Are we all still there?
Oh, I'm still here.
I'm still here. It sounds like the Cranberries were listening in to that rendition and they pulled the plug on him.
That's such a shame. I love that song, and I was thoroughly enjoying Colin's version of Kelechi Ichi. Brilliant.
Well, we'll see if we can get Colin back, but that was a brilliant effort. Any more Kelechi songs will be welcome on this show, but you'll have the summer to think about it. Next week's final show of the season shortly. But we'll see if we can get Colin back. A few other stories to mention. So one of them, I have spoken in the last 48 hours. Is it even that long? Yeah, 48 hours or so. I've spoken to two people in Australia, and both of them have already got an FA Cup story. This is how this club travels abroad. So one of them, a mate of mine, was walking down the street yesterday morning. He saw someone walking the other way down the street. The other guy walking the other way down the street was wearing the same Leicester top as my mate was. They clocked each other. They had never met, didn't know each other. They walked to the middle of the road and had a spontaneous hug, which I thought was absolutely lovely. Beautiful. And another mate who just completely coincidentally also happens to be in Sydney went into his local coffee shop this morning, and he went in to get breakfast. And the guy said to him, and he knows he's a Leicester fan, he said, "Your coffee's free, your breakfast is free, and any coffees you have here for the rest of the week are free." Wow. That is what winning the FA Cup just for Leicester City fans across the world. It's mental, isn't it?
Yeah.
They wouldn't have said that to me at any kind of food establishment.
No, can you imagine turning around to me on the all-you-can-eat buffet and saying, "This is on us, fellas." 3 days later, as they're calling the receivers in.
Colin, have we got you back?
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. We had a power cut, which I believe I think that was I think that was obviously fate, and that somebody was saying my singing was that bad.
That's brilliant. We could not have made that up.
I know that's not your mum.
Yeah, that's it. The lights went out and everything. It's like, what can you say? Somebody shut the door.
Brilliant.
So any other thoughts about the day, Colin, or what what it means for the club? And
I just think it means everything. I think it means we can keep our best players. I'm hoping. I was quite concerned we might lose Tielemans if we didn't finish top 4, but I think after this now, I think the players will see that they can win stuff with us, and again, sort of it wasn't the best of performance. I think Evan's injury actually helped us. I think we actually played better when he went off. I think the performances, I thought Perez was terrible, apart from like kneeing the ball or whatever for into Thomas's path. I don't think he did anything. I don't think Maddison did anything. But fortunately, there was other big performances. I thought Fofana was amazing, sort of thing, and Schmeichel needed to, and other people. I think, but I just think it's great. I'm just hoping we can add a few quality players now that people think, hang on a minute, I want to come to Leicester. I don't want to go to, some of these other teams and sit on the bench or just have a mediocre season. So, let's hope so.
Well, the interesting thing, isn't it, without, probably not particularly nice thing to talk about, but I'm going to, but you think about 3 Leicester players, big name Leicester players, that have left the club with a specific mission to, I'm going to leave so I can win things. And I'm thinking, Danny Drinkwater, Ben Chilwell, Harry Maguire, or very quickly have a look at how many medals those 3 have won since they've left the club. And I'm not saying that as somebody that's as a hindsight merchant, but it's it is better than the devil. And you look at Chilwell, don't you? And you think to yourself, I know you're on more money at Chelsea than you would have been down here. The fact remains, you came through Leicester City's academy. You would have been part of that yesterday. Saturday, Charlie. You would have been part of that. And you chose to leave on the basis of, I'm going to somewhere else because I think I've got more chance to winning. Number one, you didn't even play. And number 2, you've made an absolute laughing stock of yourself because you've slid across the pitch like Jamie Vardy, only to have the goal wiped out. And I've got no sympathy for it. I've got no sympathy because if Leicester City were a languishing, I could see it. What we got a great manager, we've got a great setup, everything. Why leave? Seriously, why leave? I don't get it. I'll never will understand it now for those sorts of players.
Yeah, I mean, Colin makes a good point, Norm, doesn't he? It is another incentive to stay at the club, and we're going to talk next week about what our thoughts for a plan for the summer should be for the club. So we're not going to go too much into that today, but it definitely underlines. I mean, you mentioned Man United, Killer. I mean, Man U haven't won anything since Maguire's there. Then you've got Spurs, 1 trophy in the last 20 years, which was a League Cup. Yeah. Arsenal did win the FA Cup last year, in fairness, didn't they? But their prospects don't look too good. And it's a great point that Colin's made. Everton. Yeah. Well, they had a good era, didn't they? But I think to your point, Colin, Tielemans and Rodgers had a long hug and chat that I thought was quite a moving moment actually in the coverage. And I'm hoping that Brendan was saying, you're not going anywhere, son.
Oh no, I don't think anyone's going anywhere. I think this just cements it, and it's not just winning; it's being in a position to win. It's been challenging all the time, and why would people want to leave this club? We have really great players. We can pay them all a little bit more money. I'm quite sure, but I don't think that's what they want. I think as a group, they've got that camaraderie, and not just as a group of players, but the entire staff of that club, from owner down to tea lady, clearly pulling the same direction, and that's a difficult thing for people to move away from. And if you're winning things as well, I mean, the FA Cup it's a massive trophy. I mean, looking at Maddison's face when he was on the subs bench when Tielemans scored, I mean, he was jumping around like a fan. And you know what? That's what I want to see from our players. And I mean, we always talk a little bit about betting odds and stuff. Incidentally, I just had a quick look today for next year. Then, okay, we're only 5th favourites, but we are 5th favourites, and Arsenal and Spurs are expected to finish below us next year. And that is a real statement as to how far we're coming have come as a club, that we are establishing ourselves up there we might not be the big 6 financially, but as a team, the way the football clubs run, we are behaving like we are. And that is a great place to be. And the players will see that.
Yeah, absolutely. Colin, we'll let you go in case there's any future power cuts coming your way. But
Yes,
thanks
definitely.
ever so much
No,
thank
thank you.
you.
Thanks,
Look
Colin.
after
It's
yourself,
brilliant,
buddy.
mate.
Song.
See you
Take
at the
care,
ground
buddy.
soon.
Yeah. Cheers.
Can't wait for that. Can't wait for that. And just on the point that you've just made, Norm, there around the whole sort of family ethos around the club and the point. Look, we shouldn't be naive around players. They have a short career, and Chilwell's gone for the money, and I'm sure he's probably gone for the trophies as well. But there are certain things around our club that are just different, and Schmeichel talked very eloquently about it after the game. But one thing I know, so I'd noticed the thing at the semi-final where our players had taken the time to clap all the neutral fans that were NHS staff, which Southampton didn't bother doing. I don't know if you noticed, after the trophy celebration, our players stood back and let all the backroom staff lift the cup. And when they did that, they applauded them. Now, I have never, ever seen that before at any trophy lift. I've never seen that. I've never seen another club do that. I'm sure it goes on behind the scenes, but it's just symbolic. You could see just how popular Top was when he came out. You could see how popular Rodgers is with the players when they gave him the bumps. You could see how well the players go. People can't fake that. I know you've just won the FA Cup, but normally there'll be some dynamics around that. You know, there's maybe the boss is a bit standoffish or the chairman's a bit standoffish. And it's the amount of messages I had afterwards as well, just full of admiration. Leeds fan, just full of admiration for the club. It's a really, really special place killer, isn't it, Leicester City?
Yeah, it is. And I think that's part of the magic of it, isn't it? We captured the world imagination with the 5,000 to 1 shot. But the great thing about it is, I think Leicester City, and there was a national post that was put on social media. There was about 8,000 comments underneath. And I decided not to read all of them, obviously, but decided to get like a sample. You're quite right, Tim. The neutrals' love for Leicester City. And I also noticed a lot of comments from those teams that were part of the European Super League, those 6, saying if only we had owners like we did. In fact, one of them's turned around and said, I'm not even sure if Joel Glazer walked onto the pitch, he would even know who the manager was. Which I thought was absolutely brilliant observation. And look, there's no doubt that this season, beyond any other season we've had, what with the ESL breakaway and then the fact they all rather embarrassingly U-turned and stuff, it's more than ever has shown what it's like to have an owner or owners that are just money orientated, and more than ever now, we can say, as a team which we are a top 6 team, we can turn around very proudly and say we've got the best owners, we've got the best management and coaching staff, and I tell you what, in terms of camaraderie, teamwork, ethic, the way the players bond as a family, we've got the best team as well.
Yeah, and the manager.
Yeah.
I mean, the manager's stock, right? I think it's very, very clear now that he is not going to go anywhere, and he was very overt actually what he said about Spurs and Arsenal. And you'd have to worry if you were those clubs now, and maybe we'll touch on this more next week as well. But the pecking order, there might be a big 6, but the pecking order is unquestionably changing. I mean, Vardy said no to Arsenal a few years ago. It looks like Rodgers has said no to Tottenham. It's inconceivable that Rodgers would leave for one of those clubs now. It's hard to see where he might go, incidentally, which is a thing for another day. But he just looks fully committed to this club, and he looks like he's loving it. Worth just throwing in. We just need to move on from the FA Cup, unless anyone has got any final thoughts on that. Maybe a man of the match from each of you. A man of the match, maybe.
I think Schmeichel. I mean, I think just for his. Yeah, for his those 2 world-class saves that he made.
Yeah, I'm going to say Kasper Schmeichel, and if I can just add one thing in, because it was an incredibly poignant moment for me, is the very last player to raise the cup right in front of the Leicester fans was Kasper Schmeichel, and there's no doubt that he owns a very special relationship with the Leicester fans, doesn't he? He's another guy like Jamie Vardy. He could have easily gone after the 2016 season. He could have easily gone and doubled his wages. He stayed, and I think that's what makes him and Vardy in particular They are just now part of Leicester folklore. And when he stood there, didn't he? And he made the point of shushing the crowd down, and then he just, delayed raising the cup, and it all went mad. And I thought to myself then, very, very special player at our football club, and one, like I say, this is a guy in 25 years' time. If we're still, we're still lucky enough to be alive and going out and watching the game, this is a guy that's going to be coming on for half-time prize draws, guys, and he will not just get a standing ovation; it will just be thunderous every time he rocks up at our stadium. He's an absolute hero.
Yeah, well said. I mean, I'd probably just say Yuri might have shaded. They were unbelievable saves. The second save, I mean, Norm, you couldn't have described it any better. He's hand made of steel, absolutely sensational. I just thought Tielemans was the best player on show. I thought he bossed it. I thought he hauled us back in, as he's done all season actually, but he hauled us back into it in the second half. Boy, has he improved this season. What a player he's become. And his ridiculously young age. And, they've got some midfielders that get a lot of press. Mount, Kante, by the way, I thought was brilliant. And it was great to see him get a fantastic round of applause, unlike Chilwell from the Leicester fans. But I thought Tielemans absolutely bossed that second half, and his goal was fantastic. One other magic thing happened in the FA Cup this weekend, and that was that Leicester's women also knocked out Man United, which was a bit of quite a big upset, actually. So, again, just a magnificent weekend for the club as a whole. Let's just spend a few minutes looking forward. If we can tear ourselves away from the FA Cup, we're going to have the FA Cup forever. But we have to look forward to that other small matter of finishing fourth. You two know I'm happy now. I said FA Cup and fifth is fine. You two might be a bit more greedy, though, and maybe I will be for a week or so while we can be. So, let's have a little look ahead to Chelsea, Killer. I don't know. I'm confident about the game, bizarrely. I was quite worried about the FA Cup, and I thought, whichever way that goes, I'm really worried about that league meeting. But I didn't think they were any great shakes. I didn't think they could really lay a glove on us, even when they were in charge of the first half. I'm much more confident about tomorrow now.
Big squad, Chelsea, but I think in terms of who their best 11 is, I'm not sure Tuchel knows exactly who it is, and I'm not sure their best 11 is better than Leicester's best 11. I agree with you. There seems to be a bit of a square ball team for me. They keep a lot of possession, but without carving out too many chances. We also know that we are extremely well managed, so there's no doubt at all that Brendan would have enjoyed a glass of champagne with the boys. Apparently, he had them back in for training yesterday. And that kind of says it all. Look, there could be a hangover for Leicester City, and let's be honest, if we got beaten 4, forgive them. And I'm a little bit like you, Tim, to answer your question. I'm at that point now where we're not going to finish below 5th. And as far as I'm concerned, this will have been the second best season in Leicester City's history. And we've managed to do that within a 6-year period. So whatever happens, it's going to be fabulous. Of course, you want the Champions League. And I actually think we're going to be okay tomorrow. I just think that I actually think that Leicester City team, when its back's against the wall, when that team knows it's got to defend, a bit like we did on Saturday, and we've got players, who can really dig in and grind out a result. Do not be surprised at all if we can go and dig out a draw at Stamford Bridge on tomorrow night, which will be a great result.
And we haven't mentioned him ridiculously today because we've often mentioned him, but Fofana is going to be very important. What a performance from him, by the way, in the cup final. I thought, again, for his age, that was an immense performance after Evans went off. Fantastic. So he's going to be really important. No,
we should also mention Wes Morgan. Yeah. I didn't think we'd ever see Wes Morgan grace a Leicester City football pitch ever again. All of a sudden, it's kind of like, you better finish your Ginster's pasty. You're coming on.
And I suspect we won't ever see him grace a Leicester City shirt again. I think. Well, I say that maybe against Spurs, but I think that should be his swan song. I think what better way to go out. than winning that.
He might. I think he might find himself on the bench though. I think Evans is definitely out tomorrow. Norm, I'll let you come on and talk a bit about Spurs and also just a little bit about your thoughts about where we might finish. I've tied myself in knots today with looking at stats and permutations after Liverpool got that late winner. One optimistic one for you. If we beat Spurs, Chelsea and Liverpool both need to win their remaining games. So 4 results would need to go against us, including obviously Chelsea beating us.
Yeah, I mean, look, we're in pole position, aren't we? We've got the points on the board. We're Leicester fans. We're always likely to be slightly concerned about some of the other, inverted commas, bigger teams and the ones that we think are going to do well. But the fact that Liverpool scored such a late winner yesterday, relying on Alisson to do it, goes to show that. And again, we've talked about this so many times. This season is like no other. There's absolutely no guarantee that, despite the fact you'd expect Liverpool to win their last 2 games, there is no guarantee they're going to do that. We are already 3 points clear of them. We're already 2 points clear of Chelsea. Tomorrow, it's Chelsea that are under the most pressure at the moment. They need a result against us. And I'm not saying they need a point. They need to beat us tomorrow because I think Liverpool will win their last 2 games. So a point for Chelsea means that it's out of their hands. A point for Chelsea means that if Leicester beat Spurs and Liverpool win their last 2 games, it's Chelsea that miss out on the Champions League and are relying on winning the Champions League against Man City. So, look, for a neutral, it is set up beautifully, isn't it? I mean, it is going to go down to the last game of the season. I am confident. I'm like you guys. I think Chelsea aren't great shakes. I think the pressure will get to them tomorrow. I would like to see us go all out to nail our Champions League place tomorrow by going and trying to win there. Let's not go and get a point. Let's try and win that game of football because then we can go into the Spurs game nice and relaxed and have a nice celebratory atmosphere without having to worry too much.
Very well said, Norm. Let's come on to the final Trimwell's Predictor. Trimwell's IPA Predictor with a 2-game double week to finish. Now, this is finally poised. You two correctly predicted that we would beat Chelsea within 90 minutes. I said it'd be a draw. So you got a point each. So the Predictor as it stands, Killer's on 15 points. I'm on 24. Norm is sitting on 28, knowing that one correct prediction will win him this coveted trophy.
Oh, no. I wonder what he's going to predict.
Well, yeah, I mean, go on, Norm. Surprise us. So Chelsea and Spurs, Norm. Two predictions, please, for our final 2 games of the season.
Okay, I'm going to base these predictions based on the Spurs prediction, based on the fact of what's going to happen tomorrow. So tomorrow, of course, will be a wonderful day for Leicester City, and we will win the game 2-1. It won't mean anything the game against Spurs, therefore, but we will be playing some champagne football and we'll put them to the sword and we'll win 3-0.
Oh, that'd be lovely, wouldn't it?
Love it. Killer?
And that's what I want to happen, basically.
Yeah, okay, I'm going to go 1-1 at Stamford Bridge, and I think in a tense game at the King Power, Kalichi's going to strike a late blow and we're going to beat Spurs 2-1.
2-1. I'm going to say 1-1 again. I got 1-1 wrong at the weekend. I'm going to try 1-1 again against Chelsea, which I probably would take now. And then I'm going to say there's absolute thriller at the King Power. We're going to win it 3-2, a Kalichi hat-trick, and we'll all be singing Colin's version of the new Kalichi song.
Well, at least
that is part of my prediction, by the way. So that's it, folks. We have won the FA Cup after all these years of trying, all the generations above us. I'm sure you've had some emotional moments thinking about that. No one can ever take this away from us now. We can have that beautiful, beautiful trophy. By the way, I do think it's the most beautiful trophy in sport, the FA Cup. We've got it forever. It'll be on our tombstones that Leicester City were the 2020-2021 FA Cup winners. Thanks for listening, everyone. If you enjoyed the Leicester City Pubcast, please subscribe and tell everyone about it. If you hated the Leicester City Pubcast, please keep it to yourselves. See you next week.